This is the morning weather video update. It's a Sunday edition. This is for Sunday, the 27th of August. I'm James Spann. The primary focus of this today will be obviously on Tropical Depression 10, which will soon be Idalia down in the Gulf of Mexico, and the ultimate impact on the Gulf Coast and inland areas as well. But let's start as we typically do here with the upper air pattern. This kind of tells the story. And the good news for those sick of the heat, the ridge beginning to weaken across the deep south. And that's going to open up the door for what is now Tropical Depression 10 to come up this way. The ridge shifting off to the west. And understand it's still going to be pretty toasty today, but not as hot as recent days. We'll check the radar. And again, I'm live here at 6:46 a.m. Sunday, August 27th, and that's a sign the ridge is weakening. There's an organized MCS, a mesoscale convective system coming through parts of West Tennessee and North Mississippi. And those storms should slowly weaken over the next couple of hours, but this batch will lay down some boundaries that will be focus for new storms to form later today and tonight. It's not going to rain everywhere, but like recent days where the storms form, they could be pretty strong with microburst potential. Starting off the day generally in the 70s, Mobile a muggy 80, highs in the 90s today, but not as hot as recent days, and we've still got heat advisories for parts of Alabama. So let's go to the severe weather outlook today. And all 67 Alabama counties are in a level 1 out of level 5 marginal risk of severe storms. And again, that's for microburst potential. For the storms that formed this afternoon and early tonight, we've seen this recent days. The storms have really created some strong winds. Prattville was hit hard yesterday in parts of town. We had some damage in parts of Tuscaloosa County as well. So just be aware that we might see a few severe thunderstorm warnings later today. And really the same thing tomorrow. Most of the state in a level 1 out of level 5 marginal risk of severe storms for microburst potential. I think we'll see a higher coverage of showers and storms tomorrow, but still not raining everywhere. Then on day 3, which is Tuesday, we have a marginal risk on parts of the west coast of Florida. And that's an association with Idalia coming up through the Gulf. And landfall will likely be Tuesday night. And remember, the main impact will be along and east of the circulation center. And there could be a few isolated tornadoes from near Indian Pass all the way down to Fort Myers. Tuesday and Tuesday night. So here's a look at rain with the system, and you can see the really big rains over the eastern part of the Panhandle. Let me get my box off of this thing, and you can see we've got potential for over 5 inches of rain for places like Tallahassee, over 4 inches of rain for places like Valdosta, Georgia. And understand, this is for the next 7 days, and some of the rain with this not directly in association with Idalia, but in Alabama, the amounts vary from about 2.5 inches at Dothan down to under 1 inch for the northwestern counties of the state. And keep in mind, a lot of places will see a few showers and storms later today, tomorrow, and Tuesday, but not directly in association with the tropical system. So here we go. This is the big picture across the tropics this morning, and we've got Franklin. We have Tropical Depression 10 and a wave out in the central Atlantic that really is not expected to develop. Here's a look at the 7-day outlook, and that kind of gives the big picture. We do note a new tropical wave will be coming off the coast of Africa, the Hurricane Center giving this only a 20% chance of developing over the next 7 days. So obviously the two systems to watch will be Franklin, which will stay well east of the United States, and Tropical Depression number 10. Quickly on Franklin, this could become a major hurricane. It's currently with 90-mile-per-hour winds, and this will likely ramp up to major hurricane status by maybe tomorrow night or Tuesday, passing west of Bermuda and then hooking out to sea. And this could create some rough surf and rip currents on the east coast of the United States, but the system itself stays far away from the United States. But this is what everybody wants to know about, and we'll spend a little bit of time on this. This is Tropical Depression number 10, and it's very disorganized this morning. The circulation center is actually drifting to the south at about 5 miles per hour. And it would be nice if it kept on going in that direction, but it won't. Ultimately, this will be organizing and moving north. Not much change in the hurricane center track. They bring it into the Florida coast late Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning around Appalachia Bay, south of Tallahassee. And remember, as you look at all of these maps, the big impact in terms of storm surge, the onshore flow, the risk of tornadoes, flooding, wind will be along and to the right, to the east of the landfall center. The east is the beast, and if you're on the west side, it won't be nearly as bad. And as we often talk about when it comes to these maps, and goodness, you've seen these so many times, you don't want to focus on the center line. You want to focus on that cone of uncertainty. And again, you can see that the cone extends from Destin to Tampa Bay. So this is the ensemble look coming from the global models, from the European, the American GFS, the Canadian. And this really tells a good story. Again, you can see why that cone of uncertainty is kind of stretched out in that direction, but you get the general idea. At the moment, here on Sunday morning, it looks like this thing is going to come up through Appalachia Bay and come into the Big Bend region of Florida, somewhere south or maybe just southeast of Tallahassee. This is a look at the ATCF set, and again, the agreement here is very good with the same idea. And just one note as we look at these models and the spaghetti plots, we don't have the dropson data in there yet from reconnaissance aircraft. NOAA's going to put a fleet in there today. They'll have some hurricane hunters, the C-130s. They'll have the NOAA research jet in there. We're going to get a slew of data over the next 6 hours, and that will be incorporated into the 18Z and the OZ model set. And there could be a shift, and that's the key thing here. As you look at all this stuff, this could change. I'm talking to you Sunday morning at 6:53. Tonight or tomorrow morning, the maps could look different. But again, the model consistency is good. So this is the new model developed by NOAA, the HAFS, Hurricane Analysis Forecast System, and this is supposed to be pretty good. It did okay with the Eastern Pacific system, and it brings it again right up into Appalachia Bay. Tuesday night into early Wednesday. So this is the intensity guidance, and this is where the skill is not as high as the track guidance. And we all know there is inherent danger of rapid intensification here. There's a little shear, but probably not much. And obviously the SSTs are anomalously warm, sea surface temperatures, and this thing could easily be a major hurricane at the time of landfall. Having said that, with the ATCF set here, you can see most of the members bring it up to a Category 1 hurricane. But understand, it could be a major hurricane, Category 3, at the time of landfall. And everybody in the path of this thing needs to be prepared for a major hurricane. So, and again, I'll come back and look at it again before we go, but that's the basic concept. Now, we have a lot of questions about beach trips this week for people that have a planned trip to Destin and Panama City Beach. And remember, the main impact will be along and east of where this thing comes in. And at the moment, I wouldn't cancel. And again, this is just me. You have to do what's right for you. And I don't like to give advice on traveling. I never have liked that. Everybody has a different risk tolerance level. I have no idea what's in your heart. But I wouldn't cancel until tonight. And let's look at the new data with the dropson sets in there and what comes down tonight. But at the moment, it looks like Destin and Panama City Beach will be on the offshore flow side of the system with no storm surge problems. And yeah, obviously, we'll have double red flags. That's a given. The surf will be dangerous. And there should be, obviously, wind and some rain. But the really big impacts would look to be east of there. And listen, when I go to the beach, I don't care if it rains. I'm not going down there to swim. I'm going there to eat and, have a good time. But again, I would wait until tonight. And for the places like Gulf Shores, the Alabama Gulf Coast, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Fort Morgan, Dauphin Island, at this point, the impact looks very, very minimal. Again, the main issue, just double red flags with surf problems. So quickly, let's go through the GFS, and again, we'll come back before we go and take one more look at it. Again, this is today, the 06Z run valid today at 4. Ridge weakening and shifting back off to the west. And again, we'll see showers and storms around today. Not raining everywhere, but remember, where they form, there will be potential for microbursts like we've seen in recent days. This is the high-res HRRR valid this evening at 6 o'clock. And as we always say, the radar will not look exactly like that, but something like that. So if you got something outdoors, just kind of watch for radar trends. This is tomorrow. The ridge continues to weaken. We'll see a number of showers and storms around, with highs dropping into the 80s for the northern half of the state. So this is Tuesday. Here comes Idalia. You're supposed to say it with an E, Idalia, in the Gulf. And again, we'll see a number of showers and storms around here on Tuesday, with a surface boundary kind of approaching from the north. And again, we can't promise rain for everybody, but a lot of places will see a decent downpour. And then on Wednesday, Idalia is in over southwest Georgia. And again, if there's any part of Alabama that sees a good bit of wind and rain from this, it would be the southeastern corner of the state. Dothan, Ozark, Geneva, Abbeville, places like that. For most of Alabama, it's going to be on the dry side, the north flow. And again, this could change, but again, this is Wednesday afternoon around 4. The system in over southwest Georgia. And then Thursday, the remnant circulation over the Carolinas. And Thursday should be a really nice day. Again, we're going to have a north flow on the west side of this thing, pulling down some continental air. And we might get some 50s in spots by Thursday or Friday morning. The next question is, what about the Labor Day weekend? And it looks pretty quiet. Let's go to a week from today, Sunday, the 3rd of September. And this always tells a better story. And that old nasty ridge begins to rebuild. So, we get a nice break from the heat levels this week, but they start to come right back up over the Labor Day weekend. So at the moment, it looks like most of the holiday weekend will be dry and with highs back in the 90s again. Again, this is Sunday, and it just looks quiet a week from today. So let's go out 10 days. Tuesday of next week, the 5th, that stinking ridge building back, and that looks kind of hot with only isolated storms. This is rain for Birmingham off the European ensemble. The mean is about 1 inch between now and mid-September. And look at the numbers coming from the national blend of models. And again, this is for Birmingham. Your number could vary. 95 today, but look at Wednesday, the high of 82. Yeah, buddy. Night's not as cool on this run with 60s in here Thursday and Friday morning. But again, I do think we've got a crack at seeing a few 50s toward the end of the week. But look at the heat levels coming right back up with 90s back in here for the Labor Day weekend. And the latest 8 to 14 day guidance, that old ridge. This is for September 3rd through September 9th. Temperatures above average if this works out. All right, one more time. If you're just joining us, let's go through the tropical system. We're doing this live at 7 o'clock on Sunday morning, August 27th, 7 a.m. Central Time. And again, we're looking at the 10th tropical depression of the season. And the new guidance is just in. And again, we don't expect any change in the forecast track. There's really not. But the system is about 70 miles southeast of Cozumel, Mexico. Top winds 35 miles an hour. It's drifting to the south-southeast at 5 miles an hour. Central pressure, 1,001 millibars. It would be nice if it keeps on drifting to the south, but that's not going to happen. It's going to ultimately get its act together and move north. And again, this was the 4 a.m. Central Time map. The new map looks the same. The Hurricane Center projecting this to become a hurricane coming up toward Appalachia Bay early Wednesday morning. And again, at this phase here, without the dropson data, we don't have that in yet from the hurricane hunters and the reconnaissance aircraft, the research aircraft coming in there. The track confidence will be much higher later today. But the model agreement is good here. Again, this is the ATCF set. That's really good agreement. But this could change. And you've heard me say this many times, but if you're working with old information when it comes to tropical systems, you're working with bad information. And the actual spread, the cone of uncertainty, runs from near Destin down to Tampa Bay. But this is a look at the range of possibilities. And we're really trying in the weather business to get away from the deterministic, maps to a probabilistic type map. The range of possibilities, which I think is a better way of doing this. But again, it just looks like for the moment, this thing's going to come right up Appalachia Bay. And this could be a major dangerous hurricane at the time of landfall. There is clearly a chance of rapid intensification here based on the SSTs. And again, you're not going to see that really reflected in the ATCF set, but we all know what can happen in conditions like this. And so our encouragement, it's for folks that live really the core threat now and remember, as you look at these maps, the main impact along and to the right, to the east of the circulation center. But if you are on St. George Island or points east over toward Carabel and then down toward Cedar Key, I would be making plans for a major hurricane at this point. And again, for Destin and Panama City Beach, if this holds, and understand this could change, but if this holds, Destin, Panama City Beach, Rosemary Beach, 30A, they would be on the good side where there's an offshore flow with no storm surge and certainly some wind and rain, yes. But again, the nasty stuff would be east of there. And the Alabama Gulf Coast, minimal impact, very minimal. Based on things now, and I know that everybody gets mad at us. I remember Sally, and the Sally messaging was not good. I'll be the first to admit that. And we have to be better at messaging, and we're trying to learn from social scientists how to message these type systems better with communicating uncertainty and things like that. And yes, absolutely watch it, and certainly watch the new guidance that comes in later today. But at the moment, Alabama's Gulf Coast would have minimal impact, and most of Alabama would likely be on the dry side of this thing. So we got to wrap it up here. I got to do some radio. For those that don't know, I do the weather on 24 radio stations around the country, and I have many, many things I have to do in addition to this. But I will be working the TV shift tonight. I'll be on Sunday nights for a while, so we'll be on television this evening on ABC 3340. Our newscasts on Sunday are at 5 o'clock and 10 o'clock on the night shift. And again, I'll be posting notes throughout the day on the social platforms. And again, for those that are new here, I do this every day. We do a YouTube, Facebook simulcast. Typically, the morning simulcast, it's about 5:15 a.m. And then in the afternoon, it's typically about 2:45 or so. But again, just watch for notes on the social platforms and on the blog, alabamawx.com today. I promise we'll keep you posted. And as always, just try and stick with a good quality source of information. There's no point getting into it now, but there's just an ocean of ignorance on some of the social platforms from people that are using fear to gather, followers and views and engagement, and in turn, they make a lot of money off this. I have a salary from the TV station. Doesn't matter if one person watches this or 10 million. It doesn't matter to me. So we shoot straight here. So again, just watch for updates throughout the day today. We'll catch you on television this evening, ABC 3340 at 5 and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great Sunday, and God bless.